Thank you, Dr. Shivashish Datta, for your kind introduction. I also would like to convey my sincere gratitude to the principal of the esteemed college, Dr. Chakraborty. Please accept my sincere gratitude for giving me this opportunity. I also would like to thank CIPAM and particularly Dr. Momika Gorai to accept our invitation to participate in this program. And the participants, students, ladies and gentlemen, a sincere gratitude and welcome all of you in this day-long program. I will take just 2 minutes to share my slides.
It is visible. Please make it full screen.
Okay. Is the slide visible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is fully visible.
And is it moving?
Yes, sir. It is moving.
So today I'll be going to talk on the innovation life cycle of intellectual property. This workshop is being organized in the right place and at the right time for the state, for the nation. Because after the implementation of the national IP policy, national innovation policy, and recently the NEP, National Education Policy, the discussion on innovation and its impact in our academic ecosystem has become an urgent need. And today I'll be trying to highlight some of the achievements and the way forward for us, for our ecosystem. I am very glad to, before starting this presentation, I'm very glad to be part of this program, because this is my first program for the place Karimganj and the site, Barak of the state. I feel there are a lot of potential in this part of the state. And not much has been taken forward for implementation of this innovation and the IPR domain in the grassroots level as well as in the higher education level. So there are a lot of possibilities, and also we should take advantage of many of the indigenous aspects which can be brought under the domain of IP from that place and the region. So I am really looking forward with interactions with the participants, their suggestions and comments for the way forward for our effort. So today I will start my talk with the Global Innovation Index, which got published in 2021. So if you look into the Global Innovation Index, India in 2015 was ranking 81, and presently in 2021 published list, we have got the ranking 46, improvement of 2 steps from last year. So presently we are at the position of 46. Now, if you look into the domain of scientific publications in India, we are doing really significant in this part. And at present, we are at the 3rd position in the world. But if you look into the innovation contribution of the country, then we are not in the best among the best 10 or among the best categories. So we have to go a long way in this aspect. And if you particularly pick up the patent filing, then we are 7th in the world as per the Global Innovation Index. Now, of course, we are filing a large number of patents from our country, but what is the accountability of the filing of the patents? What I mean to say is that what is the ratio of the input and the output? If you consider input as the filing of the patents and output is the number of technology getting transferred to the industry and the society, then we are not in a good position. But if you look into the intellectual capacity of the peoples of this country, and also the volume, population volume, if we look into, we are 1/6 of the population of the world. In this aspect, our contribution to the innovation ecosystem of the world, as per the Global Innovation Index, is not in the best category. So we have to go a long way in this aspect. I'm not bringing into the discussion like trademark, copyright, all this aspect, because we might have trademark, like last year data shows 3 lakhs filing of the applications. If you see copyright, 14,000. But again, if you look into the GI, we are not in a significant number. So we'll have to consider all these aspects for the betterment of our future. Now, with the implementation of the national education policy, where innovation is occupying a large part of the recommendations, then if you look into it, you will see that its focus is given on research and innovation. And the research and innovation plan of NEP is evident in basically 3 ways. What are the things? First is the establishment of the new institutional structure, aiming to improve the pedagogy and the assessment, resulting in innovations in teaching and learning processes. Then if you go to the second aspect, that it is the thirst of NEP on the priority and disruptive research areas such as green technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, nanotechnology, blockchain, IoT, Internet of Things. And thirdly, the pedagogical measures like modular examinations to test the core capacities, degrees by the research work, streamlining the higher education degrees, or higher research degrees. Nowadays, in the higher education, NEP is suggesting the degree by research in the higher education. And more incubation facilities, technology development centers, deeper industry academia interface, and interdisciplinary research that can support the research ecosystem. So it is expected that as a combined outcome of all these factors, the level of innovation and the number of intellectual property attempts will improve in our institutions, like colleges and universities, colleges like you, universities like us. Now the question comes at this juncture is that what prevents institutions from innovating, and what possible spectrum of innovations exist for the institutions like you and us. So I could identify the 5 barriers. The successful implementation of the innovation initiatives envisaged in the NEP. I'm taking NEP as the reference. needs to recognize the current barriers of the innovations in our institutions, be it Tezpur University, be it your college, or any of these higher education institutions. So the first point is the lack of space for failure and experimentation. My dear participants, by default, education honors the achievers and is therefore prone to discard the failures. So higher education institutes provide negligible space for experimentation, and which reduces the possibility for innovations. Not providing enough space for rejection, experimentation, and failure will block many potential innovations. The second point I feel is the silos effect and compliance focus. One of the major barriers is the pigeonholing the initiatives of different bodies at the institution level. So unifying the research, innovation and incubation initiatives at the institutional level is a leadership challenge. The third aspect in my understanding is the lack of innovation strategy. If innovation is a priority in the present time for the university or college, it needs a strategy that works on how to collect, prioritize and allocate resources to different competing requirements of the departments of the institutes and the research groups. Esteemed principal in her introductory remark has highlighted this aspect, the need to have an innovation strategy for the institution. The next point in my understanding can be the entry barriers and the collaboration blockers. So many innovations outside the mainstream academia go unacknowledged, as most colleges or universities keep high barriers for entry of the grassroots innovators. In the term grassroots innovators, I am not hinting only the innovators at the grassroots level, but also the innovators like the students in the institutes like you and us. So the entry barriers provide the entry of experimentations or experimenters and the innovators to the system. The last point, major point, what I believe is the funding. So in most colleges and the universities, the low level of funding is one reason that makes the research more individualistic and centering it on the career progression only. I need not have to explain this thing, but all of you will agree on this point. Now, what is the solution? If these are the barriers, what are the solutions for the things like if you look towards the NEP? India's ability to innovate is much higher than in the past because of the technological facility to share information and insights. At the beginning of my talk, I have shared with you the achievement of the country in terms of the Global Innovation Index. So, in this total ecosystem of the country, at the institutional level, at the college level, or at the university level, we need to understand what kind of innovation direction can the institutions take. Locate the gaps where the capability can be built, and what sort of intellectual property structures and protections are aimed at. These are the three main aspects in the primary consideration we should address. Now, it will augment the shift from a centralized, standardized, monoculture understanding of innovation to a flexible, holistic, and diverse innovation ecosystem. So, as I told in the last point, that we need to sort the intellectual property structures and the protections. So, my next part of the deliberation will be focused on this aspect. So, intellectual property, it refers to the creations of mind, like inventions, literary or artistic works and symbols, names and images used in the commerce. But intellectual property is like any other property you can imagine. Like when you talk about your land, your house, your your flat, any other property, intellectual property is also having the similar characteristics. So if we try to compare them, intellectual property allow creators or the owners of patents, trademarks, or copyright works to benefit from their own work and investment in a creation. So the way you get benefited by selling your land, by lending your flat, here also the same kind of things can be achieved through intellectual property rights. Now, if you see the earlier nomenclature of this intellectual property, industrial property includes the patents for the inventions, trademarks, industrial designs, and geographical indications. On the other side, if you go to the copyright, covers the literary works, novels, poems, plays, films, music, artistic works, drawings, paintings, photographs, sculptures, architectural designs. Now, right related to this intellectual property, say copyright, include those of the performing artists in their performances, the producers. Please mute yourself till the deliberation will be over.
Participants are requested to please mute themselves.
So these are the different aspects of the intellectual properties. As I already mentioned, that intellectual property is like any other property you can imagine, and it rewards the creativity and the human endeavor which fuel the progress of the humankind. If you will ask me to give the example, I will give the very popular example of the film industry. The multi-billion-dollar film recording, publishing, software industries, which bring pleasure to millions of people worldwide, would not exist without the IP protection, or more specifically, the copyright protection. Without the rewards provided by the system, the researchers and the inventors would have little incentive to continue producing better and more efficient products for the consumers. Ultimately, the benefit of these inventions is going to the market for the benefit of the consumers. On the other side, if you see, the consumers would have no means of confidently buy the products or services without the reliable international trademark protection or enforcement mechanism to discourage the counterfeiting and the piracy. Sometimes we are also part of it unknowingly. But it is not only that you will have to protect your own IP, but also you will have to respect others' intellectual property. Now, if you ask the question, why IP protection is required, there are several compelling reasons. The first is the progress and well-being of humanity rests on its capacity to create and invent new works in the areas of technology and culture. If you look in a broader aspect, the progress of the humanity. Secondly, the legal protection of the new creation encourages the commitment of additional resources for further innovation, for the next level of innovation. And thirdly, the promotion and the protection of intellectual property spurs economic growth, creates new jobs and industries, and enhances the quality and the enjoyment of life. So if we consider this aspect, an efficient and equitable intellectual property system can help all the countries, including India, including Northeast region of India, including Assam of India, including Karimganj and Tezpur of India, to realize the intellectual property's potential as a catalyst for economic development and social and cultural well-being. And also this IP system helps in strike a balance between the interest of the inventor and the industry, the market, for the benefit of the both sides. Okay, if I'll get time, maybe one or two examples I will give later to make you understand this. So this is what I was trying to discuss with you. Why intellectual property is important to us in present day life. I have already mentioned to you, it can create jobs. There was a time we used to look forward for the jobs from the government. Now it has time. We are being asked to provide jobs to the others. How? By the transfer of the intellectual property to the industry or setting up new industry. It will provide stronger economy. When there will be revenue earning by the transfer of the IP protected technology, then the economy of the state, economy of the region, economy of the nation will become stronger and stronger. Right? There are many other things I have told already to you for the reason of intellectual property so much so relevant in the present time for our life. Now let me look back to the breakthrough of this intellectual property in the time past. So at the very beginning, something like 500 BC, patent-like incentives first appeared in the ancient Greece. And continued to spread throughout the Europe, though the name patent was not there, and it got spread in Europe during this 18th century. So early patent systems reinforced the wealth of the elite class of peoples instead of the welfare and the productive capacity of the whole of the society. So it was concentrated among the elite class of peoples. British patent application, if you take an example, application fees, were more than 11 times the per capita income of the average citizen at that time. So that tells it was almost out of the hand of the common peoples, out of reach. So these restricted the innovation to a small sector of the population. As the first country in the world to incorporate the intellectual property right in its national constitution, America, United States of America, they realized it for the first time. They viewed the intellectual property right as vital to the nation's economic survival. And that's the reason they consciously designed a patent system in their country. Now, I will continue for this aspect before coming to this international convention. Let me talk about the evolution of the patent system. The Paris Convention for the protection of the industrial property, at that time we used to call it as industrial property, was the first treaty among the members. On the other side, for the literary and the artistic works protection, there was the Berne Convention after the Paris Convention. And the members joined into this treaty. After these two important, breakthrough in the evolution of the intellectual property, the major contribution was the signing of the TRIPS agreement, trade-related aspects of intellectual property agreement. And then we had this WCT and PCT in recent time. PCT means it's like, you are filing a patent from India to a different country abroad. Then if you will wish to file the patent for number of countries, then you'd have to enter into the national phase individually. That was not only cumbersome in terms of the cost of filing, but also in the process of filing. So a treaty was signed, named Patent Cooperation Treaty, which provided the single window mechanism to file the patent applications in number of countries away from the national phase through a single window mechanism. Now, if you look into the most successful endeavor in this world, in the field of IP, we have to take the example of United States of America. And I have tried to show the some data with time evolution. The US patent system stimulated the invention and economic growth and quickly became the unrivaled leader of the Industrial Revolution. By 1870, US was patenting more than 5 times the number of innovation as Britain, even though their populations were nearly equal in size, US and Britain at that time. In 1880, there was a major surge in patenting with annual number of new patents like 20,000. So it's a significant enhancement in the number of filings. This patent boom correspond to the rapid advances in the industrial revolutions, railroad, telegraph, telephone, electric light, power industry. I've seen this boom is directly correlated to the industrial revolution. Double the number of patents granted by 20th century, 1900, due to the automobile and the aircraft industry. Patenting, this level increased to 1 lakh per year due to the growth of the personal computer and electronic industry by 1980. In 2004, threefold enhancement is in number of granted patent is observed in US due to smartphone, high-tech electronics, nanotechnology boom, etc. And this trend is ever increasing. Even in 2022, we have seen a significant enhancement in this number. And you will be surprised to know that intellectual property comprises an astonishingly 38% of the total US GDP today, and represents 80% of the market value of all publicly traded companies in the US. So, you know, how much is the contribution of intellectual property? You can realize in an ideal example of US innovation ecosystem. Being in the educational institute like Karimganj College and Tezpur University, I would like to highlight one more aspect in continuation of it. You all know we consider Massachusetts Institute of Technology as one of the best university in the world. So if you look into some of the profiles I have picked up of 2019, they have 789 invention disclosures, filed 439 patents, 383 patents were issued, executed license, 25 companies formed, and $34.8 million was the revenue earning by the university through licensing of their patented technology. So, you know, the student participants, you know that the universities like Tezpur University or other higher educational institutes in India, they are heavily dependent on the government funding. But these universities, which has secured very high positions in their ranking in the world, they are getting least amount of funding from the government, probably zero funding from the government, but they are surviving. They are running their show. The whole expenditure of the university mainly depending on their earning as the licensing revenue from the technologies, patented technologies. So these things are also relevant for us, because if you look into the Indian ecosystem, traditionally knowledge was viewed in India as something that is credited, that is created and put in the public domain. Now, many creators and inventors, even till recent past, were unaware of the benefits of the IP rights of their own capabilities to create IP assets or the value of their ideas. Till recent past also, when we were going to create the awareness on the intellectual property, they cannot imagine that the own intellectual output can be used to earn the revenue for the institution, for the state. So the people's, in contrast, our constitution, if you see, if I can quote from the constitution, develop the scientific temper and spirit of inquiring and to strive towards the excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. So hence there is a need to propagate the value of transferring the knowledge into IP assets before placing it to the public domain as a research article publication. You can think of making your invention as the asset for you and the institute. The immediate economic rationale for individuals and the community, as well as it will be the pride in being innovative. So these are the important aspects of the implications of the intellectual property in our ecosystem. Now the question you can ask me that if I will have an innovation, how can I protect it into the market? It is like, you are reaching to a junction of several roads, and each road will have a directive, and I have shown it as like patent, copyright, design, trademark, trade secret, geographical indication. So first you will have to identify based on your invention which domain can protect your invention, and then you'll have to go through the process already laid to seek for the protection of your invention. So if you look into this, like I have tried to show it very briefly because of the limitation of the time, that if you ask for the patent protection, then you will get the protection for maximum 20 years. And you will have to disclose your invention to the Indian Patent Office, and there will be a process of publication, examination, and then granting the right to you. And after getting the grant, the grant of your IP right, then you will get a protection period of 20 years. And this 20 years comes from the date of application. And so you will have to mandatorily renew the right in the Indian Patent Office every year. And other IP domains have different requirements for their protection mechanism, life cycle, and the renewal procedure. I'm not going to the individual aspects of it. Now, similarly, copyright. Many of the colleges and the higher education institutes, they face the problems or the issues related to double publishing, self-plagiarism, self-plagiarism, the issues like disclosing in terms of the thesis and dissertation publications, and many other aspects related to the copyright in the field of music, arts, etc., etc. So we need to ask, while executing the things, are these ethically gray areas? We need to understand the nitty-gritties of these things. And as I already mentioned, you not only have to be proactive in protecting your own IP, but also you'll have to respect other IPs. Okay, so there are many issues. If I'll get some time, so I will try to address the things. Now, if I will have to give examples of some of the patented inventions in our country, then the first example I will give is the indelible ink. This is the most successful endeavor or technology transfer so far in our country for the patented technology. Whenever there will be election in any place of the country, you get this kind of mark on your finger. And one of the Indian company transferred this technology to Election Commission of India. And it is now being used by so many crores of people in multiple numbers during the elections. It is the output of a patent protected technology. And there are many of such kind of examples. I do not have time to address many, but one aspect I want to mention here, that it is not that one particular technology is getting protected but by one of the IP domain. It might be that one of the product is protected by multiple IP domains. So this is what one of the example is, the Coca-Cola can. So if you see that there is a brand logo of the Coca-Cola, it is protected under trademark in a very special way. The C is written C-O-C-A. So this is the moment you see the way of writing this C-O-C-A, C-O-L-A, you identify this as Coca-Cola. Then you get a specific design of the can for this Coca-Cola. You will never see the similar kind of design in any other product. because it is IP protected. The moment somebody will try to copy this design, he or she or it will be sued by the court. Then copyright, the image, Coca-Cola written with red background with some water droplets and the bottle in the backdrop, this is copyright image. No one can copy this. There is some trade secret. Trade secret is a little bit different from the other IP domains, which you can maintain the secrecy under IP protection for longer time than patents and other IPs. This ring pull can, this is patented by Coca-Cola company. So many IP domains are involved into one particular example. If I will have to tell, coming almost to the end of my talk, is what is the way forward and the recommendations for the country like us. I mean, if you look into the NEP Global Innovation Index, to secure a better position, to come into the best category in the world, then it can be like, create an effective coordination body to ensure IP policy in the grassroots level. Like in your college, we are already doing in Tezpur University, and also to promote the IP innovation agenda. The workshops, like I'm really grateful to the college for taking this, visionary initiative. So more and more such kind of initiatives to be taken by college, by the district administration. Today DC is part of this meeting. I'm sure he will be thinking and taking it forward for the place Karimganj or nearby places, Silchar and other places where not much has been done in terms of the innovation celebration. I have been told there are many celebrations in terms of the literary aspects, literature festivals, literature celebration, but not much has been done in the aspect of innovation celebration in that part of the state. I think esteemed DC's office will consider this thing. Next, remove the cumbersome bureaucratic obstacles. This is very important. These are not only demolishing many of the potential innovations, but also lengthening in some cases the timeline. And this particular world is so competitive. Even if you are missing in hours or in days the protection aspect, there may be somebody in some other part of the world will take advantage of protecting it before you. Set more realistic and quality-based revenue targets. We need to be self-sufficient. The days are coming. I would like to share in this forum that we will be asked to run the college expenditures or the university expenditure by ourselves. Already it is implemented in our university as small part of the expenditure to be taken care by the university. And I have been told that in days to come, this percentage of the amount will increase, and we'll have to think what are the means to earn revenue for the college, for the university, for the institutions. And this IP protection and IP management and transfer will be one of the major options for us. Improve small and medium entrepreneurs' absorptive capacities. There might be several SMEs around you, in your place. You'll have to nurture them, you'll have to identify them. And with the IP protection, because that is something primary, you will have to keep the IP protection first, then you can have the claim over your inventions, enterprises. Then bringing administration and IP owners in the same platform time to time for necessary amendments in the policy document. This is very important. We have to come into the same table, and then we'll have to discuss the issues from different aspects and to find out the solution, bringing the amendments to our policy documents to ensure that all sectors, government, academia, industry, NGOs, and all these aspects, we have to ensure that they should be equally active in the economy. Then only we'll get the benefit out of it. Last, I will say, if you people are interested to know the details about all these aspects, you'll have to go to the websites of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. They are the nodal agency, DPIIT, for looking after the IP ecosystem, innovation ecosystem in our country. And DPIIT is also the sponsor of my chair. So you can always come to us or to DPIIT, or today CIPAM representative is there. You can also discuss with CIPAM for any of these aspects. And for the patents, trademarks, geographical indication, patent information systems, I have shown the chart of different offices in the country. Of course, nowadays it is online system, so you need not have to be physically approach the offices. You can go online with the system. With these words, I think I have exhausted my time. Thank you for your kind patience.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us to a topic that is known to all but not realized well. The terms we know but would not know in depth. I hope the participants have learned a lot about this. Thank you for highlighting the features of intellectual property, the innovation barriers, the need to protect IP and respecting others' IP, and why the IP protection is important, and the history of IP and how the patent got popularized, the value of IP to a nation's economic survival, the brief idea of filing IP, and what is the way to protect and the duration of the same. Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us with the idea of intellectual property. Now, sir, I have one question from the participant, Dr. Dept Paul. She has asked, for any written book, how this can be protected via copyright and how to get full royalty of the published book?
It's a very good question. I mean, I'm very glad that it has been asked about it. See, when your original contribution is getting published in the form of a book, then what you can do, you can make this protected under copyright. Now the thing is that how can you make it copyright protected? So there is a symbol, C with a circle, and then you can write your name XYZ and the year like 2002. That is the first measure, first thing you can do protection of your creative output, be it a book, be it a, any like my slide, the slide what I have presented today. This some of the slides are my original creation, so I can put this thing, copyright my name and 2022, so that nobody can copy it. I can restrict others copying my slides. Second thing is that there is a formal procedure for copyright application. You need to apply, as I told, nowadays everything is online, so you can go for application formally for the copyright protection of the item, and then you get after examinations and all the procedures, you get a copyright certificate from the copyright office, and there is a set mechanism how to apply, what are the filing fees, etc., etc. Only thing is that being in Tezpur University, also from other higher education institute, I get the query for the advisory that sometimes they are being approached by some of the publishing houses that please provide your dissertation, doctoral dissertation, or any such kind of document, then we are going to publish this thing for better circulation. Now, you have to be very careful to see the agreement provided by the publisher in terms of the copyright protection first. So, as I told you, all such kind of IP assets will give you the revenue. Now, you have to ensure that how much right, or whether at all you are providing the right to the publisher, and in exchange of this right, how much revenue will be provided to you by the publishers, and what are these agreements. There are nitty-gritties of the agreements that you have to ensure before handing over the right to the publishers. So these are some of the aspects in very brief. Of course, it needs long discussions on it.
Thank you, sir. I have got two more questions. One is from Dr. PDUAM Dept. He's asking